Well, we have an interesting unit to tackle today. From its name, it's very interesting. And the title for this unit is A Global Language. What language do you think is the global language of nowadays?
English.
English, right? Without any hesitation. Why English in your opinion? Do you have any idea why English the global language of nowadays?
Maybe it's easy to learn as a second language.
Sorry?
Maybe it's easy to learn as a second language.
Maybe because it's easy to learn as, okay, maybe. So the reason that you said it's a global language, what is the reason that you said it's a global language? Do you think that people speak it like almost everywhere, or like what is the point here?
Totally. This is it's the language that they're always learning in school. You know, most of countries teach English at school from the beginning. So,
and more interestingly, like you can find it, or you can go by using it almost everywhere you go. Look, the Congress or that conference, for example, can be in Geneva, in Switzerland. Or when you travel somewhere, like me, for example, look, the map, you will find a version in English and a version in the local language. In fact, this is very interesting. And why languages become global? In my opinion, it has a linguo-political, it has something related to politics. I believe that, well, this is my thinking, I'm not taking it from like a formal source, but I believe that after World War II, the Allies won the war, and that was a turning point for the English language, which was the language of the USA and the United Kingdom. So it was like the spoken language in that part of the political wing. So after their victory, everyone was trying to learn their language and connect to them, right? Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. All right, this is a good introduction. Now, I want you here to try to make a compound nouns here. I wanted to complete the questions using the words in the box. You like, can you explain the meaning of these phrases in bold? You're gonna use them like together in like phrases. Sorry. So here you have command, mind, dead, offensive, everyday, global, barrier, and official. You're gonna use these words before or after the word language. So go ahead, please. You have 5 sentences to complete. Okay. Interesting. Have you finished?
Just a second.
Okay. For it has like 3 of them. Okay, let's do it together. I will do the first one. Why do you think English has become a lingua franca? This is a very good word. How I forgot to tell you about this while I was discussing this with you. Do you know the meaning of lingua franca?
No.
No.
Lingua franca is a language that people use as a language that they survive with. Okay, so for example, me traveling to a country where English isn't the spoken language, and I'm surviving with the English language. This is how I'm using English as a lingua franca, okay? A language of communication. Okay, so English has become a lingua franca used by people around the world to communicate. What factors contribute to its rise as a global language? A global language. Okay. All right, who wants to do number 2? Tasneem? Can do it.
Okay, I will try. I'm not sure, by the way.
No problem.
Think of 3 ways to improve your barrier of a language, and 1 situation where you need to official your language. That's all.
Hey, so think of 3 ways to improve your, what was the word you used?
Barrier. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Barrier, you mean here? We don't
Yeah.
have barrier. Oh no, not barrier. You need to use here command of language. And command of language, do you know the meaning of command of language?
No.
Okay. Your command of language, which means your skills, your abilities to use this language. So command of language, it's like the ability to use the language, okay? And the
Okay.
next one, so think of 3 ways to improve your command of language, and 1 situation where you need to, what?
Official your language?
No, sorry, to mind your language. And what's the meaning of to mind your language?
What?
Okay, when you mind your language, you pay attention to what you say, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have
Okay.
something similar in Arabic. You pay attention to what you say in order not to say something wrong, or you don't want to sound rude. You know what I mean? Okay.
Okay.
Tartil, you can do number 3.
Okay. What happens when you experience a language, I guess, barrier?
Correct.
Do you think this will still exist in the future? Why and why not?
Yes, a language barrier. What is a language barrier, Tartil?
It's the things that refuses you to learn good in a good way.
Yes,
I guess.
you can say when you have a language barrier, like when you don't have enough skills, language command to express yourself, for example.
Yes, that's what I meant.
All right, no problem. Ikram, you can do number 4. Oh, you have 3 of them here, Ikram.
Okay. Can you name an ancient or dead language? Can you name a country?
Dead language. So here you want to say a dead language. Okay, that's correct. Go on, continue.
Yeah. Can you name a country where the official language used for legal purposes is different from the everyday language spoken on the street? Do you think that this is a problem?
So here, where the official language used for legal purposes is different from the
Everyday.
everyday language. That's correct. So, sorry, not offensive. I wanted to put it here. Official language. So official language, it means the language where legal things are working on in the country, the language that they use for their legal papers and documents. And everyday language, the language that people speak together. Ancient or dead language. There are some dead languages in the world, okay? Like, who can give me, we will discuss all of the questions, but do you know any dead languages, or like, do you know a name of a dead language?
I believe
Yes.
Latin language.
Latin is dead as well. Yeah, considered dead. But by the way, some people in Switzerland speak Latin till today, but they're a minority.
I have one also.
Yes, which one?
The old Egyptian language.
Yeah, what was the name of the? I believe it had a name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Assyrian language is Assyrian, not Syrian. Assyrian. We call it in Arabic Syriani. Is dead as well. There are so many dead languages in this world. Okay, so the last one, I can do it. Would you ever use a offensive language? You need here offensive, which means like, you know, bad kind of language. In what kind, in what kinds of situations? Interesting. Let's discuss these questions for like a minute, and then we go to the next one. So what do you think about these statements? We start from the first one. Why do you think English has become a lingua franca used by people around the world to communicate? And what factors contribute to its rise as a global language? What do you think, guys? Do you have any answers for this question?
Can I start?
Yes, please.
I believe people usually travel a lot, and not every, as you said, not every country actually speaks English, but they can't handle learning like a lot of languages, especially if they aren't interested. So they survive themselves by English, because there will be some people there who knows English actually.
Yes, I know, Tartir, but why English in specific? Why not French, for example? By the way, the lingua franca in like many places in Europe, it was French just 40 years ago or something.
So
I have an opinion, but I know it's not convincing, but I would say it. Maybe like a lot of people like the traditions and cultures that English people have, so they want to copy them or to learn their language, like because they love it. There's no a reason, but they love it. Maybe.
Okay, all right. Anyone wants to add something more? All right, I can share you what I think, and I think it's my opinion at the end of the day, not a study, but I believe because of the political, like from the political point of view, and after the war, there was globalization, like everything was, you know, like global, the internet, the even the items we use, and a huge market was made by the US and the UK. And by that, they kind of advocate for their language. The universities, it was like, even it was a place for people to immigrate. So that's why so many people learned English, and bit by bit, the globalization helped that. And English was like bombing, it was like everywhere. So this is my theory. Okay, I think.
have a point.
Sorry?
I said you actually have a good point.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's convincing.
Thank you, guys. I think, yeah, this is what happened. And now here, even like, especially in places like Europe, 90% of the people speak English. 90%. I didn't encounter anyone here who doesn't speak any English. Like whenever I speak to them, they just respond to me in English, which is really interesting. So think of 3 ways to improve your command of language, and one situation where you need when you need to what was the word here? Okay, it was
Mind.
Sorry?
Mind.
Mind your language, correct. To mind your language. Okay. Do you have answers for this one?
Yes, I read an article about that says think in English.
Mhm.
That helps you talk, and also read out loud. It helps your pronunciations, and I believe to listen more to get the accent, like focus on one accent and listen videos, films, anything in it, so you can improve your accent and your speaking skills.
Yeah, that really helps to think of English, not in your mother language. All right. And what about the situation when you need to mind your language?
I believe I don't know, maybe police station.
Or talking to a professor
Like-
at university.
Yeah, schools even.
Some university professors, they're very mean with the language. They don't want you to even use some kind of everyday language, but some of them are flexible. It really depends on the kind of person.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to 3. Do you want to say anything else, guys? All right, let's check number 3. What happens when you experience a language barrier? Do you think these or barriers here? Wait, no, it's a language barrier, one barrier. Do you think these will still exist in the future? Why not? Okay.
I think it will not.
There will be less language barrier.
Yes,
Yes.
because everybody will be learning it.
Yeah, more and more people are learning English. But what if like there are some people who are suggesting that the next lingua franca is gonna be Chinese. So
I don't think so. It's one of
Yeah.
the hardest language over the world.
well, but yeah.
Yeah, it's because of I don't know, but it's hard to learn, you know.
But when you think of this logically, it's English is a very hard language for them too, but still they're learning it. So who knows? Maybe China is gonna win a big war and then become a lingua, like the Chinese language can become a global language or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Well, who knows? I believe the Chinese language is from now kind of, I'm not sure if it is a global language or not, but it is a widely spread language.
Yeah, I would be the first one who objects to the Chinese language.
Yeah. Beside you,
Yeah.
Akram.
Guys, some rich Americans, they're teaching their children Chinese from now.
And why is that?
Yeah, they believe it's the language for the future.
Here, actually, in Saudi Arabia, a lot of schools start to teach the students Chinese language.
Really? Chinese? Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Wow.
But our school doesn't, so I'm really happy.
There are some school children in Saudi Arabia studying Chinese as a main language, like as a language, right? As a main subject, not selective or elective or something.
Yeah. As a main subject plus English and Arabic. 3 languages.
Like, is it national school or a normal Arabic school?
No, a local school.
A local school.
Oh
Yeah,
my
good,
God.
an international school.
No, international schools here teach the students French language and English and Arabic.
Well, French and English are similar to each other. That's, like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, but Chinese is very far from English and Arabic, 3 different systems at the same time.
Yeah, because of that, the children don't speak Arabic and don't speak English and Chinese. None of them, they're like perfect in them.
That's terrible.
They
Well,
are like
interesting.
distracted.
They need to
Teacher,
pass
I
it.
believe the children who actually study this have plans, or their parents have plans to send them there. I don't really think they study it as a second language just for fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
They're doing it. They're
they
forced
might
the students to do
study
so.
there or something for university, or they might move there, but
Well,
totally not to stay in Saudi Arabia for the rest of their life.
that's crazy. Can you name an ancient language? We discussed this, okay? Name of a country where, this is a very interesting question. Can you name a country where the official language, which is used for the legal purpose, is different from the everyday language? Can you name a country? I can help you with a country, but I want you to try to think. No answers?
Nope.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Maybe you can provide me with some other languages. For example, in Ghana, the official language is English, but in everyday language, they use a different language, which was called, I believe, Afrikaans. Ghana language. So Ghana is one of the countries where, yes, they have so many languages, okay? They have Akan, Ewa, Ga, Dagabi, and the official language is English.
I have an example also.
Yes, please.
I think India also. India has like 200 languages, maybe.
Yeah.
100.
I was about to say India too.
Yeah.
I
So there's
agree
a-
with you.
But I believe their official language. Right. I got what you mean. Right. So their official language is Hindi, but they speak other languages in every community.
Exactly, yes.
But
Teacher,
I think, yes. Go ahead.
sorry for interrupting you. I believe South Africa too. They use English a lot in their
Yes.
official life, but it's not their everyday language.
South Africa, its official language is English, and they have another language called Afrikaans with K, not C.
Oh,
Nigeria as well. So many nations in Africa, they speak like English or French as their official language, and they have another local language. This is because of the colonization. You know the meaning of colonization?
احتلال.
Yeah, استعمار. Okay. The last question here. Would you ever use a offensive language in what kind of situations?
Yes.
Yes, and what kind of situation?
Maybe quarreling, or if there was a problem with
Yeah,
someone.
when I'm
Or someone
nervous.
or when someone insulted me or something.
Yeah. I mean, you can't stay polite all the time.
Yes, I mean, I try always to stay polite, because you don't know if you said something, it's never gonna, go back. So,
Yeah.
but
You
Yeah,
can
but
take
sometimes
it.
when people lose their temper, they can say some things that they don't want to say.
teacher, like some people don't deserve polite.
Honestly, I disagree with you. Being polite isn't for them. It's for your own,
Yeah, for
kind
yourself.
of your own values and Yeah, it represents you. What you say represents you as a person, not the other
But
person.
still, there's people who don't really seem to appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they can.
And
They're
still
exploited.
and giving you a mean treatment. So
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna listen to something, but before we listen to that thing, there is a small passage you need to work on. It's in fact like a chuck. Stephen Fry's English Delight. So I wanted to read about Stephen here and answer the questions. I'm gonna give you half a second to read the passage silently, and then we're gonna read it together and work on it. Go ahead, please. Interesting. Okay, have you finished, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's read together. Who wants to read for us?
I can.
Who said it first?
You decide, teacher.
Ikram was it first?
I don't know.
Okay,
But-
go ahead, Ikram.
Okay. Stephen Fry's English Delight. As the use of English as a lingua franca continues to grow and spread around the world, the language itself is changing, adapting to how its speakers use it. The number of people who speak English as a second language has now grown to far outweigh the number of native speakers. Professor David Crystal, a world authority in language change, thinks sounds which some speakers find difficult to pronounce might disappear, and the vocabulary will certainly change too.
Thank
The
you.
other,
Okay, continue to Tasneem, please.
Okay. The other huge influence on the way English will change relates to technology with computers that read text and
Sorry to interrupt you.
relates to technology with computers that read text and automatic person-to-person translators will computers soon be joining the swelling volumes who use and change English. In this BBC radio program, Stephanie Frey and Professor David Crystal discussed the evolution of English.
So this is what you're gonna listen about in our today's listening episode or recording. They're gonna discuss the evolution of English, why the billions of English speakers keep swelling. Do you know the meaning of swelling? Swell, like if you, for example, if you fall on your ankle or your leg, it's gonna swell, waram, right? So here it refers to the billions of people who are becoming bigger and bigger. More and more people every day are joining the English speakers. So why this is happening? They connected to computers or the the other factors. So let's answer the questions and then listen and answer other questions. First, what do Stephen Fry and David Crystal discuss in the program?
the evolution of English.
The evolution of English and how it might change in the future. Thank you, Ikram. What are the two main reasons given for why English is changing? there are two reasons here. Why English is changing? Okay,
They said the words are difficult to pronunciate might disappear, right? And the other thing that some vocabulary will certainly change.
This is the answer for 3. Okay, what kind of changes are mentioned?
Okay.
These are the changes on the English language, but what are the 2 main reasons that are, for why English is changing? I would say the fact that more people speak English as a second language. This is the answer for this is one reason, and the other reason is the influence for computers and automatic translators. So these are the 2 main reasons. First, more people are speaking it as second language. 2, the influence of computers and automatic translators. Okay, so far so good. Do you have any questions here? No, okay. Now, let's move on up there and let's listen to part of the program and take the topics that are mentioned here. Can you see it? The new Englishes, culture and identity, the type of English spoken by computers, local languages, brands of English, changing pronunciation, English as a mother language, English as a foreign language. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna listen to a recording, and in that recording, you're gonna tick, in this exercise, you're gonna tick what you listen to in the recording. So it was 6.2. Let me find it for you. Unit 6.2. Unit 6. Okay, give me a second to share the voice. Oh. Okay.
Recording 2.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, very clear.
Yes.
Did you hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Unit 6. Recording 2.
Professor David Crystal says that the migratory patterns of our language as it continues to move across the globe gives us a whole range of Englishes, and that process is becoming ever more intense.
So just as once upon a time there was British English and American English, and then there came Australian English and South African English, and then Indian English, and then Caribbean English, now it's down to the level of Nigerian English, Ghanaian English, Singaporean English, and so on. And these are the new Englishes of the world. But what happens is this, that when a country adopts English as its language, it then immediately adapts it to suit its own circumstances. I mean, why have a language? You have to express what you want to say, which is your culture, your people, your identity. And when you think of everything that makes up an identity, all the plants and animals that you have, the food and drink, the myths, the legends, the history of your culture, the politics of it, the folk tales, the music, everything has to be talked about in language. And that means your local language, local words to do with the way you are and different from the way everybody else is. And so the result has been, as English has been taken up by over 70 countries in the world as an important medium of their local communication, but they've developed their own local brand of English.
How many people spoke the language we are now conversing in, say, 600 years ago?
Certainly we know around about 1500, 1600, there were 4 million speakers of English in England.
And now in the early part of the 21st century, how many?
Well, if you distinguish between sort of first language speakers and foreign language speakers, there's about 400 million or so first language speakers. English is a mother tongue or father tongue, depending on your point of view, around the world. and about 5 times as many who speak English as a second or a foreign language. So we're talking about 2 billion people, a third of the world's population, really. The important point to notice is that for every 1 native speaker of English, there are now 4 or 5 non-native speakers of English. So the centre of gravity of the language has shifted with interesting consequences.
Okay. Interesting episode. By the way, do you know these kind of episodes? Was it fast, by the way? Was it difficult for you?
It was fast, but he used the easy English, so
Yes.
yeah,
His language wasn't that
that's hard.
complicated. And by the way, if you go to the IELTS or even the TOEFL, they use, this is like exactly something similar to this record you heard. So not way more than that. The listening is one of the easiest skills in these kind of exams. All right, so now let's check which topics did they say in the recording.
All of them except the third one and the fifth, I think.
So one by one, first they said the new Englishes, and they said culture and identity as well. What about the types of Englishes spoken by computers?
No.
We didn't hear that. Local languages?
Yes.
Yes. Changing pronunciation?
No.
Okay. What about English as a mother language?
Yes.
Yes.
They said that. And English as a foreign language?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not gonna ask you the next question, which is what do they say about this point, because you're not here to memorize what is said in the recording. Now let's move on to the next question, which is two of these or two of the sentences below are incorrect. Okay, you have here 6 sentences. This is something similar to what you have in the exams. Listen to the program again and correct them. Not just tell me which sentences, correct them as well. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay, let's listen again and correct the mistakes.
Unit 6, Recording 2.
Professor David Crystal says that the migratory patterns of our language as it continues to move across the globe gives us a whole range of Englishes, and that process is becoming ever more intense.
So just as once upon a time there was British English and American English, and then there came Australian English and South African English, and then Indian English, and then Caribbean English, now it's down to the level of Nigerian English, Ghanaian English, Singaporean English, and so on. And these are the new Englishes of the world. But what happens is this, that when a country adopts English as its language, it then immediately adapts it to suit its own circumstances. I mean, why have a language? You have to express what you want to say, which is your culture, your people, your identity. And when you think of everything that makes up an identity, all the plants and animals that you have, the food and drink, the myths, the legends, the history of your culture, the politics of it, the folk tales, the music, everything has to be talked about in language. And that means your local language, local words to do with the way you are and different from the way everybody else is. And so the result has been, as English has been taken up by over 70 countries in the world as an important medium of their local communication, but they've developed their own local brand of English.
How many people spoke the language we are now conversing in, say, 600 years ago?
Certainly we know around about 1500, 1600, there were 4 million speakers of English in England.
And now in the early part of the 21st century, how many?
Well, if you distinguish between sort of first language speakers and foreign language speakers, there's about 400 million or so first language speakers. English is a mother tongue or father tongue, depending on your point of view, around the world. and about 5 times as many who speak English as a second or a foreign language. So we're talking about 2 billion people, you know, a third of the world's population, really. The important point to notice is that for every 1 native speaker of English, there are now 4 or 5 non-native speakers of English. So the centre of gravity of the language has shifted with interesting consequences.
Okay, so let's take them one by one. And the way English continues to move across the globe gives us a whole range of Englishes. Is it correct, or like did you?
It's correct.
Correct.
Correct,
Next
yes.
one, the beginning, there was just a British English and American English, and then came Australian English, South African English, and Indian, and so on.
It's correct.
Correct as well. Can you believe that Australia, which is very like it's a continent, okay? It was under the British Empire, not just Australia, Canada. I believe Canada recently took its independence from the crowd, you know, like the royal family in England. I believe 1965 or something. Okay, when a country adapts a new language, it changes it to suit its local needs.
I believe he said suitable circumstances.
I believe this is a correct sentence because he said the language needs to adapt with everything related to the country and the language. So the culture, the etc., everything.
Yeah, okay.
Now, let's go on to the next one. English has been adapted by more than 60 countries around the world.
I think he said 70 countries.
Yeah, 70.
70 countries, yes. 70. Wow. 70 countries are using English as their official language. That's a very huge number. Is it possible? But this is BBC. It can't be. It can't be wrong.
Yes.
This is a huge number. We're talking about 70 out of 200. Okay. Perhaps there are some small countries here and there. They use English as their official language, like Ghana. And Ghana is a big country. I mean, some other African countries. There are about 400 million first language speakers of English.
Correct.
True. Only 400 millions were out of 7 billion. Wait, perhaps now it's like around 8 billion people. But still 70 countries. You can see the influence. Around the world, 1/5 of the population speaks English as their second or foreign language.
Not 1/5. It's like 400 multiplied by 5.
It's 1/3. 1/3 of the population. 1/3 of the population speak.
Oh, he's talking about the population.
Yes, the population of the entire world. Wow. Okay, so this is it for this exercise. Now let's take our break, and after the break, we're gonna continue. And I believe we have a new kind of, it's not very new, but we have the grammar points to cover. It's called concession clauses. You're gonna learn about them after the break. Okay, so let's take our break of 10 minutes and then come back here. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
see you in 10. So reading and writing are the toughest parts of the IELTS, in my opinion. Okay, so before the break, we discussed about languages, and we had the program from BBC. Now it's time for grammar. we have something new to discuss here. In fact, it's not very new. Perhaps just the name is new for you. The concession closes. What is a close, if I may ask you guys? Do you know what is a close in English?
Yeah, I think a noun plus a verb, I think.
A noun and a verb. Okay. What's the difference between a close and a sentence?
I believe, wait, how to form it? It's
Okay.
like the it's close. There's comma between them. You can say that this is a close.
Right.
This is a close too.
If we look at, for example, if we're gonna have it here today, it's one of them. If we look at the if conditional close, like, you know, clauses or sentences, you'll have like the only thing that differentiate between a sentence and the clause there is that the clause didn't finish with a full stop, or it finished with a full stop, but it didn't start with a capital letter, right? Because it's connected to other clause with a comma or with a conjunction, or sorry, with the coordinator conjunction or whatever other connector, which, you know, like can be. So the clause is a sentence that doesn't end with a full stop, or it doesn't start with a capital letter. You can put it this way. And of course, we have many types of clauses. One of them is dependent, the clause that can't stand alone. It doesn't give a full idea. And the other one, which is the independent, and the one that can stand alone and it gives a main idea. If you remember, we studied this before, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now, I want you to check what you know. I want you to read the predictions about the future of the English language or of English, and I want you to underline the correct alternatives here. You have 7 sentences. Please read them and underline the like the correct alternative, please. There it goes. Let me do the first one for you. I'd say while English is still the dominant language on the internet, other languages, well, here there is a comma because the clause has finished. Other languages like Mandarin, Russian, Spanish, and Portuguese will become increasingly important. Okay, now go for the rest, please. Okay, have you finished?
Yet.
Okay. Right.
done.
Let's do it together. Yes. Go for number 2, Ikram, please.
I think in spite of 27.3% of internet
Read
users.
it, please. Read it, please.
Okay. 27.3% of internet users are English speakers. This number is closely followed by Chinese speakers, 22.6%. Though or despite, we may find it hard to believe the global language of the future might be Chinese or Arabic.
Right. So you chose in spite of instead of although.
Yeah, and I chose the second, though.
Okay. The second one is correct, though. But the first one is although, and this is if we will study this why it's not in spite of. So although 27.3% of the internet users are English speakers, this number is closely followed by Chinese speakers, though we might find it hard to believe the global language of the future might be Chinese or Arabic. Okay, hopefully Arabic, so we can have, you know, some kind of privilege with the Arabic language. Okay, so this is a very good theory, by the way. I heard about it, and they believe that Arabic is going to be the global language because of the number of Muslim people. Right. Now, who wants to do number 3?
I can.
Go ahead, please.
Difficult though it may be as it seems for students. In the future, many schools and university subjects are likely to be taught in English using English materials.
Thank you. Difficult, though it may be as it seems for students. In the future, many of the school and university subjects are likely to be taught in English using English materials. Thank you. Tasneem, it's your turn. Number 4, please.
Okay. Whichever way you look at it, children need to start learning English when they are as young as possible.
Thank you. Whichever way, that's correct. We have 3 of them, so I can give one for every one of you. Ikram, you can do number 5.
Yeah, I chose even though of increasing numbers of English speakers, the global predominance.
In spite of, Ikram. I will tell you, this mistake was repeated twice, and I will tell you now. I won't wait until we go to the grammar. In spite of, this is very good. This is no problem at all. This is very good. After in spite of, you need a, in spite of here, it comes like a subject. So you have after it a verb, okay? When you have a noun after it, when you have like, it doesn't come before a noun. Look here, 27.3%. This is why we didn't choose in spite of. But here, in spite of increasing, or in spite of increasing numbers, yes, of English speakers, the global predominance of English is likely to change. Yes, it's likely to change. All studies say so. Right. So in spite of. And 6, go ahead, Tasneem, please.
Okay. Despite being able to use what's that word, teacher?
Okay. Simultaneous. It means at the same time.
Okay, simultaneous
yes.
Translation on their phones to speak to each other. People will still want to learn another language.
Yes, look, Ikram, the difference between despite and in spite of. This is the difference. When you have in spite of, after it, you will have the verb in the ing form. And despite, again, here you have being. So this is why we didn't choose, although we didn't choose in spite of, Look how despite and in spite come.
Got it, yes.
Okay, Tartil, it's your turn now.
Okay. I believe whilst people continue to use English to communicate on the internet, the language itself will continue to change.
Thank you. That's correct. And this is very good. Most of your languages were correct. That means you know how to use these kind of concession clauses. And this is very good because our lesson is going to be all about these clauses, how to use them, and but just a few of them, perhaps you don't know them and you don't know, and we can look them up in the language bank. But before going there, just let's read this box. They're telling you concession clauses are used to introduce information which contrasts with information in the same or in the main clause. So if you look at them, all of them, they're giving you a contrast, right? تضاد. One information and other information that would, you know, work the other way. And this is why we call them concession clauses, because these clauses, they give you like, although, look at this one, for example, number 2, I believe, although 27.3% of internet users are English speakers. Okay, this is an information. The other information after the comma, the number is closely followed by Chinese speakers, 22%. So here you can feel the contrast, right? And this is exactly why we use these kind of phrases or clauses. Okay? Did you understand, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now let's move on to 138. And you can see here 6.2 concession clauses. Did you see them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's telling us use concessional clauses to give information that contrasts with the information in the main clause. The clause can be introduced with conjunctions such as although, however, even though. They all help us to show that contrast. An example here, although he was a good linguist, comma, he took 5 years to learn Mandarin. You have here a comma, and this comma is very important. And if I may ask you guys, here you have two kind of clauses, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, the first one dependent and the second independent.
Thank you very much. The first one is dependent. It can't stand alone. And the second one is independent. And what kind of language is this?
Chinese.
No. Okay, I'm sorry. What kind of language is this? All of it.
Formal? What?
Is it simple, compound, a complex sentence?
Compound.
Well, this is what we call, it's okay, Ikram, no problem. Don't feel stressed. You just misheard me. Ikram, I understood what happened. Ikram thought I'm asking about what kind of language is Mandarin is.
Yes.
No problem, Ikram. I was asking about the sentence, not the language. And the sentence is complex. Why complex? If you remember, I don't know if I discussed all types with you, but we have the first type, which is simple. Simple sentences, they do have like only one big clause, which gives one idea. And the compound ones, they are like two independent clauses connected together by a coordinating conjunction. And now the third type, which is what we call the complex. A complex sentence is made up of two kind of clauses. The first one is, or it doesn't matter the order, by the way, it has one dependent and one independent. Why it's complex? Because one part is relying on the other. If you delete this one, or if you delete this one, the first one would be like just meaningless. Imagine you stop here. Although he was a good linguist, and it's not complete, right? This is what we call a complex sentence, and the concessional clauses here they come. It's like, I believe all of them are complex sentences here. All right, we have something called while and we have whilst. Look, this is like both, they mean something very similar. While or whilst I'd like to be with you, I have to attend a meeting. So we can use while and whilst. Whilst is like a little bit more formal to replace although here. Okay, although it can be replaced by while. But yeah, it's just whilst I'd like to. It's sometimes you can use while to refer to time as well. Like while I was doing this, something else came, but there it's just a complex sentence without a concession clause. Here, if you look at it, while I'd like to be with you, comma, it's like even like although I like to be with you, I have to attend a meeting. And this is, yes, it's a possible way to refer to a concession sense in the sentence. Are we okay so far?
Teacher, I didn't get the main idea. Like he said that I'd like to be with you, but I have to attend a meeting.
Yes.
Is that... Oh, okay.
It means like, even though I'd like to be with you, I need to go somewhere. It means like, yes.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ikram, you wanted to say something?
No, I got it. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So here we use much as to replace although with verbs of liking and hating to talk about strong feelings. See an example here. This is a very rare way, not rare, but they don't use it that much, but it's correct as well. You can use it to like to sound sophisticated. Much as we appreciate your efforts, sadly, we won't be able to use the report. It means here, although we appreciate your efforts, sadly, we won't be able to use the report you give us. But here, much as it came as a, like to replace, although with the strong feelings. This is like if you saw this, you feel the writer or the one who wrote the sentence a bit sophisticated. Sophisticated like someone with good knowledge of syntax. And so yes, this is an advanced structure, but if you don't feel comfortable using it, you don't need to. But just you have it in mind, so in complicated exams like the SAT, you will find something like this, okay? Here it means some kind like although, the same here. So far, so good? Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Okay, we have similar structure to much as. It's like a combination of an adjective or an adverb plus as or although plus a subject plus a verb clause for we use this for emphasis empathetic sentences. Let's see an example, okay? Sorry, just let me drink some water. Okay. So let's see an example. Hard as we try, comma, we fail to get hold of anyone. We fail to get hold of anyone. This is very complex structure, but good at the same time. We use this to emphasize the sentence, to emphatic for emphatic sentences. مؤكدة, جمل مؤكدة, okay? Difficult, though it was. It means like, even though it was difficult, we eventually secured the promises. This structure is very highly academic. They used an adjective, though, subject, and the verb. And by that, they just formed, this is just for sophisticated emphatic sentences. You don't need to use that if you're like, if you don't want to be a super writer or something, but you need to know the structure. This structure is correct and sophisticated as well, not just correct, in fact.
Teacher?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So we could say this structure is formal, right?
Sorry?
It is formal, like
Very formal, very formal. You won't see it in any kind of informal kind of writing. You will find it in like documents, in history books, something like that, okay? But the important thing, why they're giving you these kind of things, they want you to be familiarized with this. So when you see it in, for example, a grammar or they call it writing test in the SAT, you will know the structure, okay? It's an adjective or an adverb plus as or though plus a subject plus a verb, comma, the rest of the, or the other clause of the sentence. This is like a bit of an easier one. We use a, sorry, my connection. Can you still hear me, guys?
yes, teacher. We could.
Okay.
Yes.
We use however or whatever or wherever, etc., to express an idea of no matter, you don't care, okay, of what, who, or where. Of course, wherever it's about where, a place, whatever it can be about a thing of like a or a person. Sorry, whatever for a person, I'm not sure, no. However, you can use it for an action, but all in all, we use them like however and whatever for like indicating, even wherever, indicating that there is no matter of who or what or where this happened. For example, yes, whatever he says, you see, it's about not him, it's about his words. This is why what is, in fact, yes, they use it not for, we say whoever, you can say whoever said that about a person, not just those. You have whoever as well, you have other ones. But whatever, it's about his words, not him as well. It doesn't indicate a person. Whatever he says, I'm going anyway. So you know that before. Now, just to have this in spite of, they're telling you use in spite of and despite plus a noun phrase in the ing. This is where I needed to emphasize for you guys, to express contrast, تضاد, in spite of the fact that we had no ID on us, comma, the porter let us in. Despite feeling awful, we stayed until the end. Okay. Right, so far so good. Here we have just one note. Sentences using in spite of, despite are not concession clauses as the linkers, as the linker isn't followed by a verb clause. but it's followed by a noun or a noun in the ing form. Okay, let me tell you something. You don't need to be very specifically knowing the grammatical terms. It's just I want to emphasize here, after, in spite of, or despite. Here you need, like, after, in spite of, you need a noun phrase. Look, this is the example. In spite of the fact. After, in spite of, you had the facts. Can you see it? It's a noun phrase, right? But despite feeling, immediately you had the ing. This is what is important to understand, the difference between in spite of and despite. This is the difference between them. They don't say it in the book, but I had it, like, I know it from, using the language.
Teacher, can you come again? I'm confused, actually.
Okay. After, in spite of, you have the noun phrase. Look, in spite of the fact, in spite of, and you can have being, you can have the ing, both of them, you can have them here. In spite of being, or let me just, we say despite being, okay, more. We say despite being a student, I need to work, for example, you see? So despite, it has a verb and ing after it, okay? What we call a gerund. And in spite of, it has a noun phrase after it. You see the difference?
Yeah, I get it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the last point for today's grammar, they're telling you we can use adverbs and adverbial phrases to introduce contrast. Adverbial phrases like, for example, nevertheless, all the same. Let's see the examples. We were exhausted, but we carried on all the same. So here, these are not, these are adverbs. We call them adverbs. Nevertheless is an adverb here. We were exhausted. Nevertheless, like it means here, even though, or even though we were exhausted, we carried on. This is the meaning of nevertheless, okay? So we were exhausted. Nevertheless, we carried on. Here, these are adverbs or adverbial phrases, but they just indicate contrast. You don't need to know the grammatical meaning as you're not you're not studying linguistics. You just need to know which form and perhaps the name of the form and if this is correct or not. So I think all of this is just clear. Do you have any questions here?
No.
No.
All right, now it's time to practice. Here you have 8 sentences and I want you to complete the sentences with the words from the box. And the words from the box, of course, they are the tools or the words we just studied. Go on, please. Have you finished, guys?
Second. I'm
Okay.
almost.
I'm done here. Right.
All right. Okay, let's do it together. So we have 8 sentences and we are 4. Everyone can do 2. Let me do the first one for you. American cars are generally too hard for Japanese market. Japanese cars are popular in the USA. What do you think, guys?
Whereas,
Whereas, that's easy. Good for you guys. That's good. Whereas Japanese cars are popular in the USA. Okay. Tasneem, go ahead, please. You can take 2.
Okay. Hard as she tried, she couldn't get the door to open.
Correct. Hard as she tried, she couldn't get the door up to open. And this is 2. Oops, sorry. Let me just. Okay, take another one, please.
Okay. No matter how difficult it is, I'm determined to do my best.
Correct. No matter how difficult it is, I am determined to do my best. All right, Ikram, you can take 4 and 5.
okay, they explained that we could leave although we wanted to. And she went, is that right?
They explained that we could leave to, we would, I think here you would need whenever we wanted to go. Which one did you use? You said?
I said although, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Although no. Whenever we wanted to. This is
Okay. She went to Spain despite the fact that her doctor told her to rest.
that's correct. That's correct. Number 5. You can say despite here. She went to Spain despite the fact that her doctor had told her to rest. So despite is with 5. Okay, now Tartil, it's your turn.
Okay. We went. Number 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. We went out in spite of the rain.
In spite of the rain. It has in and off anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, I thought it despite, but I saw that Kram used it, so.
Yeah, go ahead, 7, please.
Okay, I really want the car, however much it costs.
Correct, however much it costs. And now my turn for the last one. We decided to take the room, although we knew we couldn't really afford the rent. And that really sucks, to take something you can't afford. Okay, so far so good. You can do the next one at home, and then I'll give you the answers next lesson. Now, let's move back to our book. What page was it? 50, I think way more than that. Okay, so it's, yes, let's go to page 72, please. And here you can find exercise 7A, where I want you to write the sentences to connect each part or each pair of ideas. You can use the words in brackets and think carefully about the punctuation. What is punctuation? Like the commas,
The dots, yeah.
the like full stops. Go ahead. You have 8 sentences. And if we had enough time after this, we can have the speaking and finish up today. Go ahead, please. Okay. Guys, do you hear the background music?
No, there's no sound.
Good, good. Because my neighbor just played some music and I was worried that you can hear it over the.
No.
It's far, so it's like a floor up to me. I can hear it, but not, you know, that severe.
Is it playing piano?
This is interesting. Well, students here just party on weekends. I can tell them not to party if I want, but I don't want to be mean. Like,
Oh my God, teacher, you're living like those people in movies.
it's exactly like the movies. Well, there is a there is down there in the basement. There is a room for those people who want to party. It's like 2 floors down there, and it's isolated. They wouldn't annoy anyone, but still, some of them can play some music in their room, but you know, not very severe. But it's just in the weekends, and they will for sure stop before 10, because if they continued after 10, I can call the police, and the police will just confiscate their sound system.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. To call the police.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
moving there. Wait for me.
Sorry?
I said I want to move there. They're living like movies.
It's like the movies here, yes. Okay, so let's do it together. The first one is answered for us. I always try to speak to people in their local language, even if I don't speak it very well. Number 2, I spend a lot of time studying grammar. I still make mistakes. So what do you suggest to do here?
I think though I spend a lot of time studying grammar, I still make mistakes.
You can say, you can put it in the middle as well. I spend a lot of time studying grammar, though I still make mistakes. That would
Okay.
be, but you can say, though I make mistakes, I spend. It can work. It can work both ways. Okay, number 3. Who wants to do it? Ikram, do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, I just wrote, it is, yeah, it is difficult though. No, I always try to believe what people say, or what people tell me, but it's difficult though.
You were right the first time. You said difficult though it may be, I always try to believe what people tell me. This is correct.
We put like extra words like it may be. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
With that?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, we just added it may be. Okay. Next one, Tasneem, do it please. Number 4.
Okay. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. Technology is changing education. I think I can. However, the way you look at it, technology is changing education. Is that true?
However you look at it, technology is changing education, correct. Okay. Tartil, it's your turn.
Okay. While I agree that English is important, I think students need to learn several languages.
Correct. And I can do number 6. Strange as it may seem, I find it hard to remember facts and figures. Okay. And now 7. Who wants to do number 7?
I'll try.
Go ahead, please.
I said I enjoy traveling despite the fact I don't get the opportunity very often.
Yes, or you can say, despite the facts I enjoy traveling, comma, I don't get the opportunity very often. Both correct. And the last one, who wants to do it?
I'll try.
Go ahead, please.
Learning a language is difficult, whichever method you choose.
And that's a correct answer. Let me share you here some of the suggested answers. You can take them if you want, if you couldn't like follow up with every question, every answer I said. Did you find them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, so far so good. I believe we can stop here today, and we will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow, which time was our lesson? I believe the same time. Okay, so do you have any questions for today? Do you have any inquiries?
Oh, thank you.
No,
I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
You're most welcome. So I will see you tomorrow at the same time. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. You're welcome.